What's up, guys? Welcome back. Not welcome back. Welcome to another video. This video is going to be on Chaos Child now. If you don't know what this game is, I don't blame you. I didn't even know what it was. But, apparently, did a little bit of research, and apparently it's really good. So, I thought I'd give it a whirl. It is a horror game, I'm pretty sure. It's like psychological horror. So, if you're faint of heart, not that most of you are, I don't know. Probably know most of the people watching this, so anyways, let's just get into it. We want a new game. I have done nothing. This is a blind playthrough. I've done nothing more other than why this game is good. Oh, a little cutscene here. Oh. Oh. Oh no. That's not good. It was a magnitude 7.8 earthquake with an epicenter directly under the city. This disaster reduced one of Tokyo's busiest downtown areas to nothing in a single night. Yikes. The high-rise buildings that had birthed so many trends and fads collapsed, as if giving up on their role in society. Black fires spread throughout the city as individuals fell into the grip of the crowd's psychology. Their terror was magnified. Combined, all of these things took many lives. The final death toll was 3,851. The final number of injured, 30,927. Gee, dang. This event would later be known as the Shibuya earthquake. That's terrible. Even in all that destruction, people still suffered the most in their hearts. Some who had lost their families came together to share new resolve, while others who had been forced to watch their friends die were driven by guilt to take their own lives. As a baby was miraculously reunited with its parents after 72 hours, a child in an evacuation shelter asked her dad, "When's mommy coming home?" He had no answer. What? That's just sad. Some of the wounded made it to hospitals by looking at real-time updates on the web. Others saw people on the internet talking about the disaster as if it were a movie and were driven mad. Oh. A homeless man was saved from malnutrition by an organized volunteer group, but at the same time a middle school boy punched a self-centered volunteer who'd come to Shibuya to find himself in the face. It was the first time in that boy's life he'd ever been violent. Okay, well. The psychological toll was incredible, and many of the survivors would later manifest symptoms similar to those associated with PTSD. That is awful. The young were hit the hardest, and before long the cause of those symptoms was given a name: Chaos Child Syndrome. Oh. Rebuilding happened at a feverish pitch never seen before. It felt inappropriate to say hang in there, but people felt that somebody had to do something. The new slogan was Shibuya, a city reborn, and no amount of money or manpower was spared in the aiding of the endeavor. That's good. The whole town was in a grip of a fever. In private, a leader of the redevelopment effort said, "This may sound unkind, but this frenzy feels like a town burying its grief by holding a festival." Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you don't confront it. Building codes were rigorously evaluated with an eye toward earthquake engineering, perhaps in an effort to emphasize the city's safety. Security cameras were put up all over town. Shibuya would become a place where everyone could live in peace. I doubt that. But at the same time, a rumor began to spread about the earthquake. Oh? Something about this earthquake doesn't make sense. There were no aftershocks, and the damage had spread in a strange way. Harajuku and Ebisu, areas only a kilometer away from Shibuya, suffered few casualties and even fewer collapsed buildings. This damage pattern had never been observed in any prior earthquake, and so more than a few pundits claimed the Shibuya earthquake must have been artificial. What? More than anything, some of the survivors all said the same thing. How do you... I saw a white light. I heard a sound like a ringing in my ears. Oh, we saw the light. Too many people experienced this for anyone to laugh it off, but no cause of those phenomena was ever found. It was just more evidence to those who believed that something about the earthquake had been wrong. Then, 6 years after the strange earthquake, in 2015, something else was about to attract the attention of the reborn city Shibuya. Ooh, here we go. Alright, so foul play is afoot. Wasn't just an earthquake, apparently. How do you make a magnitude 7.4 earthquake though? September 7th, 2015, Sunday night. Okay, I'm going to take 3 minutes for questions. Get to it. Man. The second he spoke, the comment box started to fill. Yuma Utani watched it for a few seconds, and then he saw the request. When does Haru tell us she's dating somebody? He smiled to himself. Oh, just what he wanted. Most of the requests were about hot actors or cute idols. His audience was so stupid that it was easy to tell exactly what they were going to ask. This took a turn. The problem was always whether the name that came up was someone he knew. That was a question of luck and of how popular they were. New tips, Haru. But Haru, her full name was Haruko something or other. She was fine. Just a few days ago, he'd forced himself to go to an event he'd rather have skipped and seen it for himself.
Yes.
Okay. Satisfied, Utani got up to get some snacks, like he always did. He lived in a one-bedroom condo located 8 minutes from Shibuya Station. Cost? 150,000 yen per month. I know that's not expensive in dollars, but that sounds insane. It had been built after the earthquake, so the furnishings and layout were modern. Ooh. A little more room would have been nice, but compared to the 40,000 yen per month place he lived in the past year, it was heaven. The music... Next year, maybe I'll move somewhere more convenient. The music in the background don't really mix for me. Oh, there he is. At 21 years old, Utani felt satisfied for the first time in his life. In 4th grade, he'd gotten big into online gaming and stopped going to school. Eventually, he'd stopped leaving his room altogether. Then he'd gotten addicted to drugs that made him sleepy, but did nothing else. Once, seeing only darkness in his future, he planned to commit suicide. In the chaos after the earthquake 6 years ago, he'd finally managed to leave his room, but his family had already given up on him. What? Man... After he failed his entrance exams, he went to live on his own in Shibuya, and he hadn't spoken to his parents since. Bro, this is sad. This game is off to a low note. As far as they know, he'd failed the exams 3 times in a row. In fact, he hadn't even gone to the test after the first time. What? So he failed 3 times, but he only did it once. He just told him he failed 3 times? There wasn't anything he wanted to learn in college or any companies he wanted to work for badly enough. What do you do then? He had no goal in life at all. But things were different now. Maybe At-chan does tell the truth sometimes. Guess I'll have some cheese. How do you make money, dude? He took a block of cheap cheese he bought at the supermarket out of the fridge. Usually, he never ate anything this cheap. But on Nico Nia live streaming, it wasn't just what you said. How you looked when you said it also mattered. Utani wasn't a good-looking man, let alone a cute girl. He was just a plain old guy. And so to keep his program popular, he needed to make them think that he was poor. Barely managed to scrape by, in fact. Oh, bro. I can't feel bad for him and not like what I don't agree with the. That's why he kept the area around his PC and the parts of his apartment that you could see with the webcam completely plain. So what, he's like tricking people into giving him money even though he's like not poor? Last month he'd finally reached his goal of 4,000 viewers. Huh. For a man with nothing going for him like Utani, this was extremely unusual. 3 months ago, he'd guessed the winners of a popularity contest a certain idol group was holding, as well as their total number of votes. That must have really paid off. Nico Nia video. After that, his numbers have been going up steadily. Late last month, when his streams had appeared at the top of Nico Nia's page, he'd seen a huge increase. Right now, he'd gotten above 4,500, and it was quite possible he'd break 5,000 by the end of the month. Oh, why'd the music stop? I'm scared. It was around late last night when he'd started to wonder about his power? It was a certain rumor on one of At-chan's occult boards that made him really start to realize what he had. Okay, don't go on occult boards. Oh no. The name he'd chosen for his stream subtly reflected this. What is it? XX Sniper Wolf? Then I learned that I can see the future. No, the music got creepy. Please stop. He took out a knife to cut the cheese. Put the knife away. I hate that sound. There's a strange sound. Oh my god. You're just cutting cheese, you're just cutting cheese, you're just cutting cheese. He thought he'd just imagine it when... Oh my god, is that someone knocking at the door? Oh my god. No, don't answer it. Someone was clearly knocking on his door. Huh? Jungle, maybe? Suspicious, he walked towards the door to answer, then checked the clock. It was 11:41 p.m. Not exactly normal delivery hours. Oh, come on. I'm streaming right now. He tried to ignore it, but... Dude, it's in the back of my headphones. I don't like that noise. The knocking continued. It was the same rhythm at the same pace. This is what happens when you go on a cult At-chan's. As if the visitor's goal wasn't to come inside, but simply to make that sound. Ugh, disgruntled sigh. Utani felt a bit creeped out. He decided to go to the intercom camera and see who it was, but then realized that that would be pointless. Why? Only the auto-locking door on the first floor had a camera. The door to Utani's room on the 5th floor had an intercom but no camera. Okay, so use the intercom. Utani gave up. Damn it. If you want something, push the intercom button. Don't answer the door, dude. Just pretend nobody's home. Maybe it's a drunk. That's even more reason not to answer the door. No, the knocks were too steady for that. and there was no voice yelling at him to open up, so don't answer the door. Ugh. He'd seen this door a million times, but suddenly it looked somehow different. Someone he didn't know was on the other side of the wall, demanding entry in the middle of the night. Somehow, this made the door seem intimidating. Utani thought he might look through the peephole to see who was outside. He was then disgusted to find himself too scared to even get close to the door. Wait, the intercom didn't have a camera, but it did have a microphone. He turned toward the living room so he could use the intercom to find out what they wanted. Can there be music, please? I don't like this. Utani, it's me. Sorry to come by so suddenly. He stopped when he heard that voice. Huh? It's me. I'm very sorry to bother you at this hour. Utani tried to remember who the speaker was, but found he couldn't. But from the tone of the voice and the words, they probably weren't a weirdo. When they said, "I'm sorry," it sounded like they really meant it. Utani sighed softly with relief, and then realized he was still carrying the knife he had been using to cut the cheese. No, put it down. Put the knife down. It suddenly felt stupid to feel so nervous. He quickly laid the knife on top of the sink. Right. I'll open it now. Who is it? No, music, come back. It's me. Don't you remember? The voice simply repeated itself. But who are you? Utani whispered to himself as he opened the door. Utani narrowed his eyebrows at the people's... People? Multiple? He looked them up and down, and then looked at their faces again. Their eyes met. No, I don't want to... No. What's happening here? Who are you guys? Oh. Utani suddenly felt a piercing headache. Oh, I don't like... Please stop. Utani closed his eyes and put his right hand up to his temple. He could feel the blood pounding in his veins through his fingers. He staggered and quickly put his other hand against the wall to keep him from falling over. The pain was like the old days when he'd overdosed on antidepressants, but much more intense. Ugh. He grit his teeth against the pain and dug his nails into the wall that was holding him up. As he waited for the pain in his fingers to help dull the pain in his mind. Mr. Utani, are you okay? He heard a voice he'd heard many times before, and felt a concerned hand on his shoulder. He somehow managed to ignore the pain and open his eyes, a worried face peering down at him. Yeah, I'm fine. This just happens sometimes lately. Overwork, perhaps? You've been so busy lately. You shouldn't push yourself too hard. You're always such a worrier. I'm fine. Come in. Oh, why'd you have to word it like that? He opened his mouth as wide as he could and moaned, trying to ease the pain, as he led his important guests inside. Guests? Multiple people? As he turned his back on his guests, he told himself that it had been a long time since he'd seen them, or maybe not. It couldn't have been more than 2 months since they'd last met. What? Wait. It only felt long because he'd wanted to see them so badly. But you didn't recognize their voice? Oh, right. It was nice of you to come by, but I'm streaming. Oh, he's back. While he was out there, he decided he would cut some cheese for himself and his guests. Oh, don't worry about us.
いや、お前ら相手にそういうわけにもいかないだろう。ん？
No, I can't do that to you guys. Huh? What's wrong?
いや、なんでもない。
No, it's nothing. Stop. 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 What are you cutting into? That's strange, he told himself as he pushed down with more force. Stop it. Oh, I don't like that sound. I don't like that sound. He cut into its surface, and it made an unpleasant sound he'd never heard before, but no matter how hard he pushed, it wouldn't go any further. Huh? Confused, he yanked the knife back and forth like a saw, but only cut in slightly deeper. Oh my god, what are you cutting into? It was as if there was something hard inside the cheese. And even though he'd only just taken it out of the fridge, it was slightly warm. What? Damn it! What's going on with this thing? Hey. Irritated, he slammed the handle of the knife against the cheese. But all it did was bash it in a little. He couldn't cut through it. God damn it! I'll help you. His guests must have heard the sound, because they rushed over. They had another knife. When did they get that out? Nope, that's when you push them out. That's when you say, oh, you got a knife? Leave, please. No thanks. Oh, this thing, it's cheese. No, it's not cheese. Oh my god. There's a trick to cutting this thing. Hey, that's not... Please stop. They put the knife up against the cheese and began to move it with a practiced hand. It sounds like your work is going well. They smiled at Utani, their voices slightly low. Utani realized that they were trying to keep their voices from being picked up by the streaming microphone and lowered his voice as well. Yeah. He grinned and nodded. His guest has introduced him to a firm that handled advertising space for popular websites, which had been giving him regular work. Okay, that's how you make money. His reputation had quietly spread throughout the small web advertising industry, and soon he was getting more and more offers. This job's all about predicting trends, so it's perfect for me. I can't lose. Then why do these streams? It's hard to say. I guess you could say I'm trying to see how far I can go. That's right. Stop! His power wasn't meant to be wasted on jobs that anyone could do. Please stop turning, please stop turning.
誰も経験したことないから誰かに聞くってわけにいかないだろ。だから自分でやれるだけやってみたいっつうか。ってかっこよすぎかこれは。
No one's done this before, so I can't ask anybody about it, you know? So I want to do everything I can by myself. Or am I sounding like a show-off? No, it's wonderful. I think. And... done. After he'd smacked it a few times, the cheese was a little funny looking, but the even slices were lined up neatly on the plate. Sorry to make you help like that. It's nothing. Go on. I'll wait until your stream is finished. Thanks. If you want something from the fridge, grab it. Oh, but be quiet. No, is that cheese? What is that? Utani took his cheese back to his seat and saw a flood of comments reading, "He's late," and "Did he log off?" What should have only been 3 minutes had turned into more than 15. Utani put a bite of the cheese into his mouth and began to chew loudly.
申し訳ない。この安売りセールしていたチーズがありえないくらい硬くて。
So sorry. I bought this cheese on sale and it's just so incredibly hard. He apologized to the camera, remembering to keep the act up of being poor and starving. And as he'd hoped, the comments started to come in. "Oh, what? Nikumago is always like this, right? Shake Shake reported this broadcast will end soon. I heard you have new hobbies. This is making me sick. What happened? Stop it, it's disgusting. What'd he do? Huh?" Tani's face took on a confused expression. The comments were strange. He thought there might be something on the camera, but he turned around and saw only his fake, poor room.
どうしました?
Is something wrong? He spoke into the camera, but the comments still didn't make any sense, and they were coming in faster. Maybe there was a problem with the camera. He reached his right hand out towards it. Oh no. In an instant, his headache was back. Hey, chill. It was the same pain as before. No, worse. He closed his eyes and jerked forward, banging his head against the desk. But the pain in the head was so bad he didn't even feel it. He tried to hold his head up to his hands, but for some reason his right hand wouldn't move. No. Come on. So instead he pushed his other hand up against his temple. It felt squishy. The vein was incredibly swollen and it felt like rubber. And each time he felt his blood pulse through it, there was an unpleasant sensation in his fingers. What is the cheese? What is the cheese? Gah! He stamped his feet against the floor, hoping to find some small escape from the pain. But it didn't even get slightly better. It was then that he realized he was crying. He could feel the tears coming from his eyes. The pain was moving there now, too. Ugh. Unable to bear it, he opened his eyes. Oh! What are you doing, Utani? He gasped. The whole scene appeared in front of him like some kind of awful magic trick. What's going on? He suddenly heard the sound of something wet dripping onto the floor. His eyes reflectively turned towards it. His right arm was gone at the elbow, and the stump was gushing blood. There was a pool of it on the floor, and the sound he heard was the new blood splattering onto it. Huh? Utani didn't understand what had happened to him. What was going on? He'd just gone to check out the knock on the door. The pain screamed within him. Any sense of pain in what remained in his right arm was overcome by the pain in his head. He felt nothing from his arm at all, though he saw the blood dripping onto the floor. What the hell was going on? He blinked and forced his aching eyes to function as he looked around the room. On top of his desk, he found the rest of his arm. No! His arm was It was sitting on a plate. At first, it looked like it was still in one piece, but it wasn't. Oh, no. It was neatly sliced into uniform pieces. Each piece was about a centimeter wide, and the slices moved neatly towards his fingers. They sat upon the plate in, roughly, his arm's original shape. Miraculously, he saw there was no blood on the tip of his index finger. What? Oh good, they're not going to show it. He still didn't understand that it was really his own arm. But sheer disgust at what he saw caused him to leap out of his chair. What was this? What kind of prank was this? Oh, Tani, you're gone, my guy. The contents of his stomach flooded into his mouth. He vomited. The pink fluid splashed against the desk. Ew. Ugh. He saw something solid in the middle of it. It was a thumb? Oh my god, he ate his thumb. It was covered in bite marks, saliva, and stomach acid, but horribly he remembered it. What? When did he put that into his mouth? In his pain-filled mind, he suddenly heard a sound he'd never heard before. Each time he heard the sound, the pain in his head got worse. He turned towards the camera, hoping for an answer to what was happening. But of course, there was none to be found. The screen was still filling with comments, but his eyes were too filled with tears for him to read them. Ew. As the whole world turned red, Utani didn't even realize that his lips were turning purple. His lips had turned purple from lack of oxygen, but were stained red with blood from his severed thumb, which he had chewed himself. As he tried to fight the pain, he began to fall unconscious, his tears falling from his eyes. The tears seemed to be pink to him. Utani was weeping blood. He died, still facing the camera. His guests watched the chain of events unfold, then silently headed for the door. This is why you don't let people in your house at 11:42 p.m. Just before they left the room. What? Goodbye. They said as if nothing at all was wrong and shut the door. God, what the hell? 666 extra saucy? Who commented extra saucy? Man, commenters scare me more than what just happened. September 19th, 2015, Friday night. I can't remember if this is like 2 days after what just happened. Oh, where are we now? Woman. Whew! Momone Takayanagi had finished her concert. Like always, she stayed behind to help put away the instruments. She even helped clean up the audience's seats, even though that was just the concert hall's job. Okay, nice lady. Only after all of that was done could she take a break. There wasn't much time left before her solo street concert, but she still had to help anyway. She'd always been like that. Even if it wasn't her responsibility, she couldn't help but to get involved. It was like in middle school, when one of her friends who wasn't as good at studying asked her for test notes. Or in high school, when a girl she knew asked her how to make Valentine's chocolate for a boy she really liked. She'd stayed up so many nights, her own test grades were worse than her friends. And she didn't have even anyone to give chocolate to on Valentine's Day. Oh, she just lets people walk on her. In the end, it was the other person's responsibility, not hers, but...
要はヘタレなんだろうな。
Basically, I'm just a huge wuss. Momone Takayanagi was, at heart, scared of not doing everything she could, even if everything wasn't her responsibility. The concert today was another big success. Sure, it was a tiny room that could only fit in 150 people or so, standing room only, but tickets were 3,000 yen, high for a band with an amateur vocalist like her, and they still sold out instantly. Oh, good for her. It was bizarre how excited the crowd was. She'd heard sobs during the ballad, and during one of the high-tempo songs, the audience had stood up all the way to the back row. Okay. Second one's fine. First one's a little weird.
ありえない。
This is impossible! She felt a chill and hugged herself tightly. It's not that her band wasn't popular. Oh, New Tip sang it. They'd started out in the Nikoyan Sang It category, and then kept going by doing covers of popular anime songs. It helped that her face, which had earned her the nickname Scarecrow in school, could look really good when she wore makeup. Scared? That's mean. And if all of them put on ridiculous costumes and acted like idiots, some people would enjoy that. Videos of their concerts and performance pulled a decent number of views online. But Takayanagi noticed the vast majority... Oh yeah, sorry. No, excuse me. The vast majority of the people looking at their videos were people who'd come to her concerts. Is that bad? People who'd experienced that insane intensity were going back to the videos to try and feel it again. And Takayanagi knew that they probably wouldn't feel even 1% of it.
ありえないよ。
It's just impossible! And ticket prices and audience sizes were one thing, but the strangest thing to her was their eyes. Their eyes pierced right through her, unblinking. They were like pets, totally dependent on their master. The meaning of the lyrics began to take over their lives, and they never even questioned it. What?
やっぱり私の声はおかしいんだ。
There has to be something wrong with my voice. When she first realized that this was happening, she tried to quit the band. Even if she couldn't, she at least wanted to stop doing the live shows where people heard her directly. But the others around her wouldn't let that happen. Your voice is amazing, they would tell her. They forced her to keep singing, even as the concerts began to terrify her. Takayanagi tried to get out of it, but in the end, she kept giving in. She owed her fellow band members for getting a plain dull girl like her into music. And for a while, part of her managed to have fun. But in the end, Takayanagi lacked the tiny bit of courage needed to break out of the cycle. Music. Come back. Sigh. She forced herself to get up and head towards the street concert, which she didn't really want to do. She'd received an email. She read it slowly. No. Oh, hey. She almost dropped her smartphone. She read it again and again, trying to control her shaking hands. It was nothing special, just a simple message about one of the songs she'd made. Is this the same person? Good song. Keep it up. No way. Takayanagi tried to stop the tears, but couldn't. The band would get too many messages like this to count, especially after concerts. She knew it was rude, but to be honest, she was sick of them. But this email address wasn't for her band. It was one for a site where she had anonymously uploaded her original songs. In other words, whoever sent this message hadn't come to her concerts. They never heard her voice live or felt its strange power. But they had still said they liked her song.
マジですか?
Really? Wiping away tears that wouldn't stop, she quickly wrote a response. That makes me really happy. Thank you. Even after she sent it, she kept crying for a while. She hadn't cried this much since the earthquake. And then she stood up. Stupid things. She took her costumes for the day's concert out of the bag, balled them up, and threw them in the trash. It was a white caped outfit worn by some angel character in some anime. Certain fans really loved it, but she didn't care about it at all. She took a wet towel off a nearby table and violently wiped away her makeup. I think I'm okay with being a scarecrow. She was never wearing another cape or putting on makeup to look like some anime character again. Never! She said aloud. She realized she was more excited than she'd ever been before. And then she started to realize what she wanted to do. I guess I could just leave Shibuya. I'm sure things are going to get messy here. Messy? What do you mean messy? What would happen if she said she was just going to quit the band? It caused trouble for a lot of people, definitely. Her band was scheduled to play in the Restoration Festival. But even so, she never wanted to sing in another concert.
いつもストリートライブをやってる道は常連さんとかちゃいちゃまずいから避けて大丈夫かこの顔だし
I shouldn't use the street where I've done shows, or my fans will see me. Wait, I'll be fine with this face. She laughed and kissed her smartphone.
やばい
Oh wow, this is so much fun. This one's too happy. I know I should feel good for her, but like, considering what we just watched, this one feels way too upbeat. She couldn't wait to get home and start fiddling with her music. Over the web, she could really share her music with others. As long as they weren't hearing her voice live, it would be fine. She just played a recording from a speaker, for example.
小型のスピーカーなら家にもあったな
I've got a small speaker in my house, don't I? That's right. She'd leave Shibuya, and when she had a few more songs, she could record them and play them at a street concert. That speaker was small enough that she could fit it under her clothes to fool people. It would be rude to do the same song every time, so each time she'd re-record it at home. No, chill out. No! Stop. Not again. Not again. I mean, this person, the last person, okay. They were kind of messing with people. Not that they deserved it, what happened to them, but they were kind of This person just found happiness. Come on. There was a knock at the door. One of the staffers, maybe?
もう出ますから
Oh, don't answer it, please. Oh, geez, I'm coming. She smiled and answered them. Now that she'd thrown away her clothes, her bag was lighter than she'd ever imagined it could be. That lightness made her think about the future. She was happy. I'm scared.
Hi.
No, don't do it, 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 don't do it. Coming! Taki and Nagi happily danced toward the door, completely ignorant of what was on the other side. I mean, why would you need to be concerned if you were in a concert hall? Did they send the message? Wait, what's happening? I don't like that sound. September 19th, 2015, Friday night. Shortly after she finished, she was walking through Shibuya. What is she doing? She had a limp and dragged one leg behind her as if it was injured. Her bangs were unnaturally long. Most of her face was covered by them. She wore a dark-colored dress that seemed to melt into the night, and above it a bright red cardigan. Her chest, arms, and legs were almost completely covered. Despite the fact that the night was still warm, she wore gloves as if it were a sin to show any skin at all.
ごめんなさい
Oh, sorry. She ran into a couple coming out of the hotel and staggered slightly. Oh, who are you? Are you the person? But she didn't even look at the people she ran into. Are you Naga someone? I can't remember. God dang it. She looked down and disappeared into the streets of Shibuya. Or are you the bad person? What was that? Man, talk about creepy. Hey, did you see her face?
Huh?
Huh? Why?
気持ち悪い何あれ
It was so weird. What was that?
何あの目
Those eyes were so weird. What eyes? Oh. What? No. What happened to the... What happened to the person? Where am I now? What? Oh good, it's not the same knock. Thank God. Holy cow. Takuru Miyashiro. Ugh. Okay, I don't like the music. For example, Let's say you ask a kid in middle school, do you know what Schrodinger's cat is? Most would say yes, or I've heard of it. We'll start by eliminating the DQNs who say they've never heard of it. Next you ask, well, what was it? Next we eliminate those poor fools who say, it's something about a cat in a box, right? Or, there's this cat, but you don't know if it's alive or dead, right? Or maybe they say, there's a cat in a box, and next to it there's this device that may or may not give off poison gas. You don't know if the cat's alive or dead till you open the box. Everybody knows that. We can eliminate these show-offs as well. New tips, wrong cider. Anybody from these groups is a wrong cider. The right answer would be to describe the experiment and then say, it was a thought experiment proposed by Schrödinger to criticize the quantum mechanical theory that state collapse only occurs after human observation. But barely anyone can do that. And I'd imagine that I'm the only guy who's still in high school who knows that Schrödinger got the idea after exchanging letters with Einstein. Yeah, I mean, you probably are. I hate wrong ciders. I'd taken a break from investigating the 2 incidents that had occurred recently in Shibuya and was paging through some @channel blog aggregators for a change of pace. As always, articles about bad idols and corporations with terrible work environments were getting tons of hits. Crash of 15. It was hard to believe that the crash of 15, a huge news story that had just happened this month, was already at the front pages. Did the people reading and commenting on these sites realize that everything they read about corporations and idols was carefully controlled? Did they know that most of these big aggregator sites are corporations too? Did they realize that the comments were all manipulated to go one direction or another? Kids our age were living in a world where all the information you could ever want was right at your fingertips. And those of us in the enlightened generation, ignorance was the worst sin. The ignorant were self-righteous, easily manipulated, and eager to push their paper-thin worldview onto others. They were nothing but a nuisance. The worst of the lot were the so-called otaku. I couldn't stand otaku. They were wrong-siders. Take the picture on the cover of this magazine. It was from Bloodtoon. Any otaku who just watched it for the cute characters was a loser. Okay. There's no point in watching the show if you're going to ignore its deeper themes. Okay. Yeah, dude. Yeah. One of those people. Okay, so I actually watched the show for the plot, not for just the anime girls. I don't know, this guy might be serious. I probably shouldn't mess with him. He sounds pretty serious. I couldn't stand people who still had the old-fashioned idea that only otaku watched anime. But people who ignored a show's themes and just watched it for the cuteness were even worse. I can't... It's giving off really serious vibes, but the argument itself just seems so... non-serious, playful. Just something... I don't know, I would never hear someone talk about this seriously before. Anyway. And the music is not helping. They were ignoring the implicit social criticism hidden in... Oh, I thought it was going to be the Nog. Oh my gosh. That scared me. What? What? I stared at the magazine in amazement. Specifically, I stared at the box that listed the next episode previews. New tips, Aaron. The text said that Aaron was missing. Idiots! Damn it! I'd let my guard down because I knew this episode was written by the guy who wrote the original manga. Okay, so it wasn't that serious. The original author doesn't know anything about his own work. How could you remove Aaron from the story halfway through? Not keeping her around meant bringing up all the internal drama that had been built up for so long to a halt. God damn it. So much for my change of pace. I knew I had work to do on the case, but I'd put it away because I couldn't find any link between the two crimes. The knocks, if those are the crimes you're talking about. I thought for a moment, then took my magazine from its secret stash. Whoa. Ew! I'm sorry, that was just my initial reaction to seeing that face on the cover. Oh, it's so disturbing. I don't like it. I'm sure if that were a real magazine, she would look fine, but just the art style is just... Oh. It was an issue of an older magazine called Cool Cat Press. Oh, that's my kind of magazine. People called it a dating guide for normals written by someone who never dated a girl in his life. I take back my previous statement. That's not my... Okay. Anyways. Magic words to make any girl fall in love with you. Stupid. I knew it was stupid. But when I ran into an internet search for their #1 phrase, nothing came back. What a scam. And that was the thing. The fact that it didn't show up on the internet meant to me that it was worth something. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, excuse me. I guess if it's not on the internet, then it's like, it's pretty rare. I know this is extraordinary selfish. Fuck. I know this is extraordinarily selfish of me, but may I fall in love with you? With who? What are you doing? I turned to yell at the voice. Huh? Oh no! When did you get here? God, this music is so good. I hid my favorite magazine behind my back and tried to calm my racing heart. Even if we've known each other since we were kids, don't just come in like that. I did knock. So what's that magazine? Oh god, sorry. I did knock. So what's that magazine? Anything interesting? This piano's hitting hard. This is such a good... This soundtrack is... It's nothing. I couldn't let her find out. This was bad. Well, what's going on? Why are you wearing your school uniform? Didn't you go home? Sariko frowned. You're the one who told me to go investigate the crime scenes for our club today. Huh. That's right. Here you go. More pictures from the crime scenes. A real 16 GB. Sarika took the USB memory stick out of her purse. Oh, thanks. Could you transfer it to my computer for me while you're at it? Sarika looked a little confused. That's rare. You never let anyone touch your computer. Not really. You're allowed. She didn't seem to think much of it as she started to copy the data off. Okay, now's my chance. The RV was cramped, but there was a lot of space for storage. I pretended to make tea as I tried to find room on the top shelf. Okay, there's just enough room for one more magazine. And then I heard a pew pew sound like a small fart from behind me. I glanced back and saw that Sakura was using the mouse with one hand and fiddling with her gyro froggy gyro strap with the other. This was my chance. Hey! Hey, I don't like that frog. I don't like that frog. Gyro froggy was a soft vinyl cell phone strap I'd won in a candy contest when I was a kid. When you pushed its belly, it was supposed to go gyro. Guess that's the version of Ribbit Ribbit. It turned out to be an incredibly rare prize that could fetch 100,000 yen at an auction. But since I was a kid who didn't know any better, I gave it to Sarika as a present. Sarika seemed to really like it, and ever since she'd carried it with her. Which, well, that was fine, but it was old and faded, and when you pressed its belly, air leaked out of its side and made a weird noise. It used to go gyro, I think, but now it just made a strange whooshing sound. Ever since she was a kid, she'd had a habit of fiddling with it, especially when she was nervous or focused on something. In other words, she was focused on the computer. Now was my chance to hide it. I jammed the magazine onto the top shelf and moved some things so she couldn't see it. Wait, so is this magazine bad?
Mountain view でいいか?
A mountain view? What? Is that like Mountain Dew? Want a mountain view?
いいよ、もったいないじゃん。それにすぐに帰るし。はい、終了。
Don't waste it. Nah, don't waste it. I'm leaving in a second anyway. Okay, hold on. Ugh! Are those real pictures? Are those real? Oh, I hate that. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I hate that. I really hate that. You took a lot of pictures. Any luck?
新しい発見はなかったよ。タクは新しい共通点見つかった？
I didn't see anything new. What about you, Taku? Find anything new that connects the two cases?
Yeah.
No. I shook my head, frustrated.
そうか。まあ気長に行こう。じゃあ明日部室で。
Oh, I see. Well, let's not get frustrated yet. I'll see you in the club room tomorrow. Just as she was about to leave, I got an idea.
Onoe.
Oh no. I needed to double check my info. She was in theory. Okay, that's where we cut it off. I'm gonna stop the recording here, guys, just because my time's running out. But I'll try to get the next segment of this video until I can at least get to like a save point or something. But anyway, if I can't manage to do that, this has been part 1 of Chaos Child. I know not really a lot happened, but it's really interesting so far, and I really like it. So I'm planning to turn this into a full playthrough, and if there's multiple endings, maybe, you know, go back and get through those. It won't be a steady upload. I'll try my best to be as fast as I can, but you know, I got work, and holidays are coming up, so I'm gonna be with family a lot. But I'll try my best. I'll try my best. Thank you guys for watching. This game is awesome so far. Really awesome soundtrack, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Maybe next time we'll find out if Ono is, in theory, a girl. Catch you guys in the next one.